birthplace of the American serial killer. Known serial killers of that era are almost all male, white, extremely manipulative, and very cunning.
You will not see them coming until it's too late.
We had this string of murders involving young women who were on the Stanford campus.
The murder inside Stanford's Memorial Church has the sheriff's homicide details somewhat baffled, and all indications are that it may have been carried out as part of a bizarre ritual.
We may not have been able to get him way back when we didn't have DNA, but we can do it now. I believe in getting justice no matter how long it takes.
Any reason why your DNA would be on her pants?
I don't think so. Was she dressed at the time?
You think I've gone through a day in my life that I haven't thought about my sister?
She was brutally attacked, and I believe she fought for her life.
Gun! Mr. Crawford, put the gun away.
The Summer of Love in San Francisco was in the late 60s. This was a place where you could be free. You could do what you wanted.
To be real, it was wild. I can't express the speed of life that was for me.
The weather's great. There's this vibe of freedom going on, and I think people are drawn to that.
A lot of people came from the Midwest and other areas into San Francisco because of what was going on with this movement here, with the music and the free love.
The drug culture was really exploding throughout the Bay Area, and there were all kinds of odd crimes occurring as a result of the drug explosion.
We had this string of crimes, of murders. It seemed like the world was kind of coming unhinged.
Northern California in the 1970s became globally recognized as the birthplace of the American serial killer. Known serial killers of that era are almost all male, white, extremely manipulative, and very cunning.
These are people that, if they want you, they will convince you that they are the guy next door. You will not see them coming until it's too late.
There just were so many women who were missing. There were so many women that were murdered. It was a frightening time.
It's not far from here that just a week ago today, 4 more bodies were discovered in a connected series of murders that now numbers at least 10.
14 people have been murdered in Santa Cruz County in the last 2 months.
Sheriff James believes the women were murdered sometime over Easter weekend. They were the 17th and 18th murders in this county this year.
Yeah, we used to hitchhike, but now it's not real safe to do it, so we don't.
Why did you quit?
Because of all the weird things that have been happening with the rapes and girls being chopped up and things like that.
And then you had this string of murders involving young women on the Stanford campus. Leslie Perlov, Janet Taylor, and Arliss Perry.
I'm investigative journalist Grace Kong. When I first learned about the murders of these 3 Stanford women that all happened within a year, just over a year of each other, I was like, okay, there's something very, very wrong here.
Both women were strangled, Taylor by hand and Perlov with a scarf. Both women had been carrying purses which were not found with the bodies.
These are murders at one of the most prestigious universities in the country. And how can somebody go around killing 3 women within a year and get away with it? I was like, this is an unbelievable story.
Mrs. Arliss Perry, 19 years old, a bride of 2 months, was found dead in Memorial Church Sunday morning. She was lying on the floor just below a cross on the east wall.
The Arliss Perry murder was particularly vicious because the killer had a lot of time with her, and she was trapped in literally the center and the spiritual heart of Stanford's campus in the chapel. And her death and the way she died was something that really distressed everybody who worked on the case.
That was a time when there were a lot of women who were abducted. And yes, at Stanford, you should have, that sense of safety and security.
I don't go out at night anymore. I used to walk my dog, ride my bike, come to the library. No way. Not doing anything like that. My roommate's staying in. No one's around campus anymore.
It was brutal and tragic, and made the more shocking because Stanford was such a beautiful place, and the contrast between this revered institution of higher learning and higher education And the brutality of these crimes was really, really stunning. They sent shockwaves through the Stanford community, and in each case, no arrests were ever made.
Fortunately for the families of the victims, some of whom are still alive, California elected its first female sheriff. And I have no doubt that in 1998, if Sheriff Lori Smith had not become sheriff of Santa Clara County, that these murders would never be solved.
I've been sheriff for probably just over 21 years, and the Arliss Perry case has been one that I've wanted to solve for a long time. I want to put such a focus on working on these cold case crimes now before these guys die. I want them held accountable while they're still alive. We may not have been able to get them way back when we didn't have DNA, but we can do it now, and we need to put a focus on that.
Arliss Perry, the last victim in the Stanford murders, had just moved to campus from North Dakota. You know, I grew up near the border of the Dakotas, so I feel very close to the people in Arliss Perry's life because I had a very similar childhood. These are very, very private people. And when I went back, even though it's been 45 years, in many ways I found a community frozen in time, haunted by her death.
We lived in a neighborhood in Bismarck that, we all went to the grade school together and that type of thing. And every other house or every third house had a kid in my class.
It was very safe. No one locked doors. No one locked their cars up. Your mother did not worry about you. You wandered around the streets and just went exploring and had fun.
When we were growing up, we had Boy Scouts and we had church functions. We had a lot of church functions, so it was all pretty positive. It was all, I'd say, fairly innocent.
We'd go build bonfires. We'd go play touch football under the lights of the Capitol grounds.
We didn't have any fears about just going off and doing things with friends. We went on road trips together, camping trips. We just had fun together, good, innocent fun.
Arliss was a very sweet person, very innocent person, very loving person.
We were cheerleaders together. She was kind. She was religious. She had a great smile, an unbelievable smile.
She could really talk to you on a deeper level, and I really bonded with Arliss, and our friendship really grew, from sophomore year through our freshman year in college. She always had the dream, to get married and have a family, and really look forward to that someday. That was one of her dreams. We knew Bruce, and of course Arliss was a good friend, but we never really put them together.
Bruce was very well known in as far as track and field in North Dakota. I mean, he was the man to beat. I'm going to go back in time, but the 100, the 220, the 440, he had the 440 relay record, 880 relay record, and also the mile relay record.
And the kid to watch is Bruce Perry. Here they come. It's a pretty good start.
If we were behind in a relay, you gave it the baton to Bruce, and you knew who was going to win the race. Bruce was very well respected in North Dakota. His name is, I think, still known pretty well around the state as far as a great track athlete. Now, that's close to 50 years ago.
Arliss and Bruce were a great match for each other. And I remember it was kind of the talk of the high school. Arliss and Bruce went to snowball together. What? Even we found out after the fact.
Bruce and I and Arliss attended the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It was based on athletics, but with a Christian belief. And we would get together once a week, and a leader would take you through Bible verses or whatever at the time. And they were there every week.
They enjoyed sharing their faith together, and it may have been a first love type of situation, where they both just wanted to go to the next level.
Once they started dating, she had a lot to say. She just, you could tell she had met this really amazing guy, and there was something very special about their relationship. And we knew this might be the guy, just from how she talked about him.
One thing that we were
the church, but there was a lot of obvious interest in the case, headlined by the Stanford Daily. What were the indications of strangulation?
There was some bruising around the neck.
At the time, I was the campus correspondent for the San Francisco Chronicle, sort of how I put myself through school. And the Chronicle sent down a reporter and photographer from San Francisco who obviously weren't familiar with the campus, didn't know the major players on campus. And so basically I took them around campus to the church, to the murder site, and took them to Bruce Perry's apartment. Because they wanted to get a photo of Arliss Perry. And that experience is still seared in my memory. He had just seen his wife 12 or 15 hours before and still trying to process this horrific news. My recollection is that it was stunning, and he was stunned. But in some sense, all of us were. I mean, how could this thing happen at Stanford in a church?
When Arliss Perry was killed, I'd been on the department for about a year. It was something that I was always interested in. This was a promising young woman who was murdered, and the victims and their families need an answer.
I can say firsthand that the detectives that worked on this case on the front end in the 1970s put in a lot of work. They talked to hundreds of people. They ensured that the evidence that they collected was preserved. They interviewed and re-interviewed people that they thought they had hunches of maybe some suspicion. And so they took a real hard look at those people. Nothing ever panned out with that. And so as you start running out of leads, the case starts going colder and colder.
Fortunately, Sergeant Alaniz is compulsive about details. He went back and re-examined each and every piece of evidence collected the night of the murder.
Bruce and Arliss got into a little bit of a quarrel. Arliss, being a devout Christian, decided to walk over to Stanford Memorial Church and pray. She walked into the church at approximately 20 minutes or so before midnight. Bruce went back to the apartment, and after a short period of time realized Arliss wasn't coming home, and so he went to the church and got there maybe around midnight, and the doors were locked. So he begins to walk around the campus looking for her, doesn't see her, drives around, can't find her. He comes back and reports her missing to Stanford Police Department.
You don't really know where she's at, though, do you?
No, I don't.
Do you want an officer to come by and take a report or something?
I don't know. I just would like some help trying to find her.
Well, where was she last?
Well, last time I saw her, she was walking toward the church.
How long ago was this?
It was about at 12.
12 o'clock. Then we'll have someone look around for her, and if she does come in, give us a call, huh?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I've been sheriff for probably just over 21 years, and the Arliss Perry case has been one that I've wanted solved for a long time. Anytime we would have new detectives in our cold case homicide unit, I would talk with them and ask them to take another look at it.
It was anywhere between 15 and 20 lead detectives that investigated the case, on top of other detectives who assisted during operations. I would say at least 100 detectives have worked on this case in one way or another.
We have two exceptional detectives that really went through the case piece by piece, but all of the detectives have worked on it for many years.
It took just under 2 months to read through the entire case file one time, and that was just the beginning of it. You have to remember, in cold case investigations, a lot of the standard investigative techniques have been exhausted, and I wanted to come at it from a different angle, and so I just created a list of the things that I wanted to do and move forward on the case.
Crime experts understand that some of the most vexing cases break on the tiniest detail. The Stanford murders would surely still be a mystery if it weren't for Sergeant Rick Alaniz. Alaniz spent months reviewing decades of reports. He created fastidious spreadsheets of all the evidence and reviewed recordings from the night of the murder. Alaniz kept coming back to the same troubling questions that previous investigators had about the man who had discovered Arliss's body. Stanford security guard Stephen Crawford.
He was the one that locked up the church. He was the only one that had keys to the place, and he was missing for several hours.
The dispatcher calls Crawford and says, "Hey, have you seen this girl? She's wearing, the dark jacket, blue jeans, glasses." Immediately, Stephen Crawford says, "There's nobody in the church. I locked it up."
I just got a call from an unhappy husband. He and his wife had an argument earlier, and he thinks his wife might have gone into the memorial church.
Church has already been locked up.
It's been locked up. There's no one in there at all that you know of.
It was locked up at 12 o'clock.
Did you see a WFA walking around, blonde, shoulder-length hair, brown suede coat?
No, I can't say that I did.
Her name is Arliss Terry.
Okay.
If you see her, tell her husband's sorry you argued with her. Tell her to get her ass home.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for her.
Crawford says he returns at about 5:30 in the morning to open up for Sunday Mass Church and finds Arliss Perry murdered. I've never heard anybody, especially in law enforcement, who's come across a dead body, describe it in that way.
It would take 40 years of painstaking work to finally have enough to bring in a suspect.
Any reason why your DNA would be on her panties?
I don't think so. Was she dressed at the time, or?
Four decades later, with fresh eyes, Sergeant Rick Alaniz cracks the unsolved cold case of Arliss Perry.
So then, Sheriff's Office homicide investigators get to the scene, and they begin a homicide investigation. At about the same time is when Stephen Crawford leaves. He disappears from the crime scene, and nobody can find him for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. They start looking at the office. They start looking at dispatch. They call Stephen Crawford's wife looking for him. Nobody knows where he's at.
Hello? Mrs. Crawford?
Yeah?
Is your husband there?
No, what seems to be the problem?
Well, we need him out here. If he comes home, or if he calls, tell him to call the station. It's urgent.
I believe that he was changing clothes. I believe that he was discarding evidence. And I believe he was just cleaning up before he got back because he had heard on the radio that they were going to be, processing the crime scene, including him.
The 2 hours that Crawford went missing are precisely the reason that the Stanford murders was a mystery that endured for 4 decades. And there were a lot of detectives who worked this case year after year who really thought that Stephen Crawford, the security guard, was the major person of interest. But the burden of proof for homicide is a very high bar. And with no physical evidence linking Stephen Crawford to Arliss Perry, they couldn't make an arrest. They couldn't even ask for an interview.
In the early 2000s, DNA starts to develop and becomes a tool for law enforcement. It was in the early stages. We had a detective, Randy Bynum, who I believe he thought Stephen Crawford needed to be looked at a lot closer as well. He organized an operation to follow Stephen Crawford and collect a discarded cigarette butt. They submitted that cigarette butt to the Santa Clara County Crime Lab and developed a DNA profile for Stephen Crawford. So, if you get this help, I'll get this up.
15 years later, that operation paid off. Alaniz, who was reviewing all of the clothing collected the night of the murder, realized that a key piece of evidence had been mislabeled.
I noticed these pants were labeled 36-32, and those size of pants would not belong to somebody of Arliss Perry's stature. So I went back to the office and looked at the spreadsheets and confirmed that they had been mislabeled as Arliss's pants when really they were Bruce Perry's pants. Arliss Perry's pants had never been tested for DNA. So when I realized that, I immediately ensured that these pants were sent to the Santa Clara County Crime Lab, and in 2015, I was notified that semen DNA profile was located on Arliss Perry's pants, and that partial profile matched that of Stephen Crawford.
In 2016, Alaniz somehow charmed Crawford into coming in for a voluntary interview.
You could have a seat here. Thank you. Yeah. I wanted him in that interview to feel like he was in control. I've learned his personality is anytime he had male confrontation, he would shut down and not cooperate.
Appreciate that. I'd like to get you on a cup of coffee. No thanks. No thanks? Okay. Yeah, so fine. Some water? And I'm pretty well all set.
So basically, I asked him, hey, we're here to talk about what happened. We're still looking into it. Arliss's family is still seeking justice on what happened to their daughter. And I wanted to talk to him about the incident. And he basically tells me, I don't think at all about that case. And I kind of like popped up and I said, you don't? He goes, no. I've talked to child molesters, murderers, people who commit horrid crimes. Stephen Crawford's eyes, when I looked into him after he said that, they were the coldest I've ever seen in my life. I wanted to eliminate any innocent reason as to why his DNA would have been on Arliss's clothes. So I basically asked him, had you met her before? Did you know her? Did you talk to her? No. I said, okay. Did you guys have maybe like, were you concerned because you were married at the time that you were having an affair, some sort of like maybe sexual meetup with her? And you know, he's getting real defensive and he's looking at me and he's staring at me with eyes I could only explain as, you know something that I know and I'm not going to say it.
Any reason why your DNA would be on her blue jeans? Only because I was there. Okay. Any reason why your DNA would be on her pants? I don't think so. Was she dressed at the time, or?
So then I asked him, basically, is there any reason why your semen DNA would be on her clothing? And he shut the interview down. He basically said that, now I'm starting to feel like I'm being interrogated and I'd like to go home.
Crawford went home after that 2016 interview, but in 2018, police returned for a final confrontation.
Gun! Mr. Crawford, put the gun away.
Nearly 2 years after Crawford walked out of that interview with Santa Clara, detectives return.
On June 28, 2018, Sergeant Allen Lease had a search warrant for Stephen Crawford's residence.
Our detectives went to Crawford's house with a search warrant with the intent to do the search and with the intent to arrest him.
Stephen Crawford was someone who was going to shut down and not comply with somebody who was confrontational with them. So I decided to take a very low-key approach. I gathered a team of 5 detectives. There was 4, including me.
There's always a danger when you're approaching somebody's house and you can't see inside.
Stephen Crawford's apartment is one way in, one way out. So we're all basically at the front of the apartment. I knock on his door.
Mr. Crawford! Mr. Crawford! Can you please come to the door? It's the sheriff's office.
I'm sorry, say what?
It's the sheriff's office. Can you come to the door? Okay, thank you.
I noticed that the window is open. We had been in there in 2016, so I knew that his bed was right next to the window. The blinds were drawn, so I couldn't see inside the apartment, but I could hear Stephen Crawford inside acknowledge me. A few minutes go by, and I noticed a blind open up. And I see Stephen Crawford's face look right at me with his glasses.
Hi, Mr. Crawford. How are you?
Pretty good, but
Can you open the door for us?
sure will be closed.
Okay.
Real quick here.
Okay.
1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Right there was the first time that I got a really weird feeling in that, okay, he remembers me from 2016 because he looks right at me and he knows what we're there for. We're there to talk about murder.
We gave him several minutes to get dressed.
Mr. Crawford, how you doing?
Pretty well. I've been kind of full. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're okay.
I wanted to let him think that he was in control. That was ultimately my game plan. Ball's in his court. I'm going to let him run with this. I asked him, hey, just go ahead and open the door. We can help you get dressed. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm trying to sell it to get into the apartment.
Doing all right, Mr. Crawford?
Yeah, I'm having difficulty getting dressed. Like this here.
Mr. Crawford, we can help you out.
Okay, I would feel a little bit embarrassed about that.
Okay.
It was absolutely my call to take a very low-key approach to the service of this search warrant.
Is there something I can help with via the window here?
Well, I just had to show you something real quick when you opened the door. I finally got to the point where I said, this is not happening. So we're going to make basically a real low-key entry into the apartment just to see what's going on. We always have contingency plans in place. So I had obtained the key to Stephen Crawford's apartment from the apartment manager. Yep, Mr. Crawford, we're going to help you out. I quietly stuck the key in. I opened it. I said, hey, Steve, we're going to come in and help you. And I'm basically slowly moving my head in to see where I know he would be. Mr. Gun. Mr. Crawford, put the gun away. I dropped to the only place that I could find cover, which was a window-mounted air conditioning unit that he had in his window. I realized that that's a horrible place to be. Mr. Crawford, put the gun away. I then beelined it back to the tree, and as soon as I took a couple steps, gun. Mr. Crawford, put the gun away.
I'm investigative journalist Grace Kong. 4 decades after Arliss Perry's brutal murder at Stanford Memorial Church, Santa Clara County finally has all the evidence they need to move in and arrest her killer, former Stanford security guard Stephen Crawford.
Yep, Mr. Crawford, we're gonna help you out. Mr. Gun. Mr. Crawford, put the gun away. I heard the loudest gunshot I've ever heard in my life.
I heard that there'd been a shooting. And so myself and I think the undersheriff and the assistant sheriffs, we drove to the location of his apartment.
Anybody hit? Nobody hit. Towards this way. Mr. Crawford, put the gun away. Did he shoot himself? Noe, do you have a visual inside? Yeah.
As I came up to that front door, I could see Mr. Crawford was on the bed, and there was blood.
Okay, he's down. He's down. Is he moving at all? Like, do you feel like you could get in there and move the gun, or do you want to wait? He can't. He's not moving at all. Mr. Crawford! Mr. Crawford! Nothing. There's nothing. Anyone else in the apartment?
Anyone can advise for something over 6 units?
Anyone else in the apartment? It had appeared that Stephen Crawford had shot himself in the head.
We still have unanswered questions. We can't ask him any other questions about maybe any other murders, but he killed himself.
In my opinion, I think he knew that this case was getting close to being solved, and he knew he was a perpetrator.
I truly believe that Stephen Crawford lived as a coward and he died as a coward. And that's how I feel about it.
Crawford used a large revolver to shoot himself in the head as he was lying in bed. He had stalled detectives at the door trying to serve him with a warrant by saying he needed to get dressed.
It comes with great honor to announce we solved the 43-year-old cold case.
When we did for the forensic examination on his computers, Stephen Crawford had hundreds of thousands
and thousands of images and videos of child pornography.
Floppy disk after floppy disk after floppy disk of images and videos depicting the murder and torture of women, teenagers, and young children. Some of the videos that I watched of things being done are things that are going to haunt me the rest of my life.
Crawford is the biggest coward in the world. He's lived this life knowing that he murdered her, and I want to make sure that we look at other cases that he could have been responsible for. This type of murder, in my experience, is not just the one person, so I hope that we continue to look at what else did he do.
Investigators wondered, was Stephen Crawford also responsible for the other Stanford murders that began in 1973 with the murder of 21-year-old Leslie Perloff?
Leslie Perloff, her body was discovered in the foothills behind the campus. on Stanford land.
She parked her orange Chevy Nova to the side of the road and then just walked off to take a picture. She wanted to commission an artist that she knew to paint a watercolor landscape for my mother's birthday.
Leslie was a Stanford grad that was going to be going to law school. She'd gone up to the hills to take photographs, I believe, and was strangled and murdered.
Leslie and I looked a lot alike. I mean, we looked like twins. Leslie was my mentor and my protector, and I always felt safe around Leslie. My name is Diane Perlove, and I'm Leslie Perlove's younger sister. We were separated by about 14 months. Leslie was my best friend, and she was a wonderful sister. Leslie was very bright, and she was raised to not be ashamed of being smart as a young girl.
Leslie was one of the brightest students in our class. She was going to go to the best universities. She wanted to be president of the United States.
She went through high school in 3 years. She went through college in 3 years. Stanford was the college to go to. My uncle went to Stanford, and then my mom went to Stanford, and then Leslie went to Stanford.
She wanted to learn about the world. She wanted to find out what was out there and experience it and make it a better place.
Leslie was always very interested in justice. She was interested in helping the underdog.
She was in love, and she was hoping to be married, and she was ready to make the difference that she could in the world. I just can't imagine for her dear heart and her brilliant, gentle self to have the horror of that experience. I still can't imagine.
I did a year abroad in Ghana, West Africa, and I got a phone call. It was a Marine from the U.S. Embassy, and he said, I had a telegram. You want to come and get it? I said, no, read it to me, read it to me. And he goes, are you sure you want me to read this to you? And I go, yeah, read it. So he said, the telegram basically just said, Leslie dead in USA. And I was just shocked, and I remember I just kept saying over and over again, what am I going to do now? That was what I remember. That was my reaction. What am I going to do now? Like my life was over. What am I going to do now?
It was a brutal crime. She was brutally attacked, and I believe she fought for her life. And part of that was scratching, biting, whatever she had to do to survive. She wanted to live.
There was no funeral, there was no services. Everybody responds to grief differently. For my mother, she took all the pictures, all our family pictures, and she threw them away because it was too painful for her. My mother didn't care about catching the person who did it. She says all she knew is Leslie was gone, and that was it. Nothing could make this better.
We're really fortunate on that case that a lot of the evidence had not only been preserved, but was still usable. It was fingernail scrapings that fortunately had been preserved in such a way that they could get DNA from the suspect.
That DNA turned out to be a major turning point. Many assumed the DNA under Perlov's nails might be Stephen Crawford's. It wasn't. Investigators were stunned to learn that it belonged to yet another former Stanford employee. They now realize a new, unidentified killer was hunting co-eds on campus in the 70s.
You know, I can see her body right now. It's one of those images that are burned in my mind forever.
So in 2016, when I was assigned to the cold case unit, I started to review the Leslie Perlov homicide. It was a brutal crime. She was brutally attacked, and I believe she fought for her life.
She put up a fight. There was evidence under all 10 of her fingernails.
The DNA from Perlov's nails did not belong to Stephen Crawford, but it did belong to yet another former Stanford employee.
The crime lab was able to develop an investigative lead through genealogy. A person of interest who they named as John Gertrude.
That person of interest, John Gertrude, had worked for Stanford's cardiology department. Gertrude is a married father of 2, who I learned lived just blocks from Leslie Perlov at the time that she was killed. Fortunately, Getru still lived in the Bay Area, and Noe and his team quickly moved to collect Getru's DNA by following him and acquiring it from a discarded coffee cup.
I sent that to the Santa Clara County Crime Lab. They confirmed that the DNA on that item was the same DNA that was underneath the fingernail clippings of Leslie Perloff.
Noe, all I remember is Noe was trying to get a hold of me, and all he said was, "Diane, we got him."
More than 45 years after the death of Leslie Perloff, the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office now believes they have the man responsible. 74-year-old John Getru was arrested at his home in Hayward yesterday.
Cold cases are never closed, and we pursue them until we can find some kind of justice for every family.
With Getru now sitting in Santa Clara jail, accused of killing Leslie Perloff, investigators in neighboring San Mateo County worked to tie Getru to other unsolved cases.
Janet Ann Taylor was last seen Sunday evening by a friend she had been visiting on the Stanford University campus. She left about 7 o'clock to hitchhike home to La Honda, and on Monday morning a passing motorist made the grim discovery in a drainage ditch off Sand Hill Road near Whiskey Hill.
Janet Taylor was a young woman who was living with her boyfriend on the coast.
She was kind, gentle, intelligent, compassionate, and I loved her.
Her father was athletic director of Stanford, Chuck Taylor. She obviously operated in that area and had a job in the Palo Alto area. She commonly hitchhiked back and forth.
And it was a time where people did hitchhike a lot. It was just a common way of getting around, although parents did not like it and they warned their children against it. It was a pretty common occurrence.
Janet Taylor, we know, on the night of March 24th, left her friends from the Stanford property where her friend was living.
Right around dusk, she said she had to leave to go home to feed the dogs, and they offered to give her a ride, and she said, "No, I'll just hitchhike."
She did not make it home that night. The next morning around 10:30, an individual driving for work noticed what he believed to be a body, and he contacted the San Mateo Sheriff's Office.
In the morgue, that's really when I found out. When you identify a victim, they put you in a little box. And you stand there and you're looking into the box and they go, "Okay." And they open the curtains. Well, I passed out. I was like so disturbed. I collapsed. I can see her body right now. It's one of those images that are burned in my mind forever.
She sustained trauma where she'd been struck several times.
She appeared to have been beaten, and she was then strangled.
She was not sexually assaulted in the sense of a completed sexual assault, but her pants in the crotch area had been ripped. That became really important eventually.
It's safe to say it was a sexually motivated crime.
But she wasn't sexually assaulted.
No, she was not.
She was a fighter, by all accounts from her friends.
Janet had a brown belt at karate. She knew how to defend herself.
So that would tell me she probably did fight more than he had anticipated, and he may have had to kill her before he had wanted to. And that's why, while it was sexually motivated crime, she was not sexually penetrated that we could see.
I mean, I blame myself. Well, if I wouldn't have been working that day, I would have gave her a ride. It was unimaginable. I mean, she was a kind soul. She was really a giving person, and I can't imagine anybody hurt her.
From the beginning, investigators suspected that Perloff and Taylor were killed by the same man. Both women were 21. Both were brutally beaten, strangled, and killed on the Stanford grounds.
I got a call from Noe Cortez, and he informed me that they had identified and arrested John Getru. So that's when we started putting pressure on our lab. Hey, we need to know if these are connected and they have results and they have information. We need to get on board if we're going to be part of this.
I received evidence, which was mostly clothing. I received green corduroy pants, I got a bra, I got a sweater, and I got some other items. I examined the pants and I noticed that around the crotch area there was a tear. And I wasn't sure what the tear was from, but I noticed that it was unusual, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and swab it. And I was able to obtain a profile from that. That was a male profile.
There was no semen that was found. Potentially, I guess there could be some saliva. They couldn't determine that. We just have male DNA or touch DNA, which is amazing.
The profile that our criminalists developed from the pants of our victim, Janet Taylor, matched to the evidence that Santa Clara Sheriff's Office had developed on their Perloff case.
Thursday morning, the San Mateo Sheriff's Office issued a warrant for Gautreau's arrest for the murder of 21-year-old Janet Taylor.
I have no doubt there are other cases out there.
A man with no doubt about Gautreau's guilt is a brother of an even earlier victim.
I'm calling to let you know about a man in California who's committed murder that you probably have no idea about. I'm Evan Williams. I'm a pastor, and I serve Sunnyland Christian Church in Washington, Illinois.
While John Gautreau sits in jail charged with 2 Stanford murders, I learned that years before his arrest, authorities had been alerted to his past by a tip to the FBI.
I'm calling to let you know about a man in California who's committed murder that you probably have no idea about. And the reason I know about this man is he killed my sister in 1963. My sister, Margaret, as a young child, brought a lot of joy to our family. She was a very caring kind of person. And when my sister died, some of the joy of the family was stolen.
Margaret was fairly quiet. Both of us were. I think probably every child thinks their childhood is a normal childhood. It's only as you get older that you notice maybe it wasn't. My father and his father before him were ministers.
My father was an Army chaplain. He was a pastor in the military, serving at Bad Kreuznach at a military base there.
For the 7th Army in Europe, Germany is the frontier.
Bad Kreuznach is a community in Germany. It's not real large, but an army base was established there at one time.
Many of those with families live in apartment buildings in totally American communities.
The military community was about 2,000 people, so it was like a very small town. Everyone knew everybody, so I think that gave them a feeling of safety and security. My sister was a freshman in high school. John Gautreau was a junior in high school. He was 18, so he was older for a junior. And my sister has been described to me by a couple of classmates as being one of the very innocent girls. And so there was an activity at the AYA, the American Youth Activities Building, also just called the Teen Center. And they'd get together and play some records and dance. And so there was this after-school gathering. My parents were expecting her home by 11 o'clock that night, and the activity ended at 10:30. And something my father wrote, he was talking about how it started raining, so he drove to the Youth Activities Building, and he found out she had left 5 minutes before he got there. When she didn't arrive home, he hoped that she had just stopped because of the rain and then would be coming along soon. But then when she did not arrive by midnight, they called authorities and said, our daughter always shows up for curfew, and she's not home. Her body was found, I think, at 1:11 a.m.
To your knowledge, how was she killed?
She was strangled. And, yeah. There were friends of hers that, as they saw her step out of the building, said, you want to go with us? And I suspect that Margaret, in that matter of meeting curfew, was just oriented on, here are my parents' expectations, it's time for me to go home. And so she was seen with John Gautreau outside of that building by more than one person. She had evidently walked with him, and her walk with him led to a baseball field that was behind the Youth Activities Building where he raped and murdered her.
It was really rough. My mother never wanted to see my sister's dead body at all. So we had a closed casket. For a real long time after that, I still couldn't believe my sister was dead. I was looking for her everywhere I went. I expected to see her.
John Gautreau was convicted in German courts as a juvenile in 1964. That meant that he would end up with a shorter sentence, and he would also be in juvenile detention.
The maximum sentence for a juvenile at the time was 10 years for homicide. For some reason, Getrew only served 6 years. And we found this memo, and it basically said, John Getrew will be released from Germany March 7th, 1969, and he must leave in 24 hours.
They released him on one day, and he was on a plane the next day to the United States, and it's kind of like Germany going, okay, it's out of our hands. In the last 10 years or so, it just started nagging at me more and more the thought that he would commit more violent crimes. And so I was able to look up his name, I knew his age, and I found that he was a resident in California. That got my attention and made me think he could potentially be the Golden State Killer. But I did not know that he'd committed any more violent crimes. But I thought that because of the particulars of what had happened with my sister, that he would commit more violent crimes.
John Getrew was able to kill other women because he cloaked himself in this image as a loving husband and father.
Oh my God, he did it when he was married to me. My name is Susan. I was married to John Getrew from 1970 to 1978. I moved to California with my daughter, who was 5 at the time, and I was a single parent at the time when I met him.
I really felt like, nobody really knew what John was like. He just had this persona about him that everybody was like, oh, he's such a great guy. And I'm over here going, oh my goodness, if anyone could just really know what the real guy was like. But
I met John Getrew in Redwood City. He was the cast tech in the orthopedic department. I worked there as a receptionist. When I first met him, he's very nice, very pleasant, and everybody seemed to like him. I don't know anybody who didn't like him. He was very likable.
I didn't like him from pretty much the minute I met him. He tried to be my dad, like trying to take that role even before they were engaged. For instance, there was an alley behind our apartment building that was really one of the only places to play. Otherwise, we're on frontage road of the freeway, so, there was the carport area and the alley behind, and when he came, I was all of a sudden not allowed to play in the alley. And he caught me playing in the alley one time, and that he was gonna whip me with his belt. Those are like the first memories that I have of him trying to be my dad and me not really wanting that.
At that time, John was also babysitting my daughter when I would go and go bowling. I bowled once a week.
Yeah, he babysat me. I don't know how often, but I definitely remember him babysitting me. I remember him hanging me off the freaking balcony by my feet. He's standing on the balcony and I'm hanging over the railing looking down at the ground 2 stories down. I thought I was going to land on my head and die, and he was laughing at it, and I'm freaking out. Scary. Very, very scary to me. The biggest thing I remember is when she told me they were going to get married, and I was just like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. I pretty much begged her not to marry him. There was nothing about him I liked. I was very uncomfortable from the minute I met him, and I tried really hard to impress that on my mom, but she just didn't see what I saw, apparently, because then she married him.
I can't describe whether she changed when I married him or not. I didn't see a change in her. I was at work all day long. My daughter was in school, so I never was there if he was off a day. I don't know what he did when he was off on the days he didn't go to work. I have no clue what he did.
I used to beg her not to go to work. It wasn't so bad when they worked at the same times. It's just sometimes she worked nights, which really sucked because then I was stuck with him babysitting me. And that was never a fun time. He molested me on a daily basis from age 6 to age 14. Basically makes me touch him and tells me that if I tell anyone, he will hurt my mother. And basically at that moment forward, he will do whatever the heck he wants to do to me, and I won't say a freaking word about it, because if I do, he's going to hurt my mother. And I believed every word he said, because he made it very clear to me he had that power.
Talk to me about what this guy was doing to a 6-year-old girl.
Well, he was coming into her room in the middle of the night, and I'd wake up with a man in my pants, and it was like freaky. I wondered why me? What did I do to have this put upon me? Because I was pretty sure this was not right. None of it felt right ever. I just always knew this is not supposed to be happening. You know, he wanted me to call him Daddy, but in my head, daddies don't do to their little girls what he did to me. So, you know, there were times when, you know, he'd like, come sit on the couch with me and just be my little girl and just treat me like I was his daughter. And then other times I was his sex slave, you know, do whatever I want you to do. I mean, it sucked. Definitely not something little people should ever have to deal with.
She never told me anything about what happened to her. And then she told me that he told me he would kill you if I told you. And that was just like, oh my God, what did he do? You know, he scared the out of her.
I never felt there was anyone I could talk to, go to. No one was gonna save me.
As a child, Kathy was the only one who knew that her stepfather was a monster. What she didn't know was that she was living with a killer.
No one was gonna save me. The only thing that was gonna save me from him was his death. It was a long time. I didn't think it was ever gonna end. It felt like an eternity. I felt like it was my whole childhood, basically, gone. He used to bring me animals. He knew I loved animals, and he worked at Stanford. He had access to animals all the time. He used to bring animals home all the time, and those animals used to disappear all the time. Brought me a rat one time, and it lived in a cage, and it was perfectly fine, and it wasn't doing anything to hurt anyone, and he decided that it was a bad rat, and it needed to die. And I needed to watch it die. So he made me watch him kill the rat. He put the rat in a jar of formaldehyde, and I had to watch the rat die. That became kind of regular. I sort of learned not to get attached to the animals so much because he was probably going to take them away from me at some point.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, John Getrew had power and control over this young child. And part of that was because John never held a steady job. Susan was working 3 jobs. They moved every year. She was trying to make ends meet. And she just was so frantically trying to do the right thing and put food on the table and pay the bills. John was Kathy's primary caretaker.
He knew everything I did. He knew if I smoked a cigarette, he would know, oh, you were in the park smoking. I know you were. He knew about my conversations with my friends. He knew things that I really had no idea how he would know. He used to come at me and tell me, you know, oh, you're not doing this, you know, whatever it was. You're not going there. You're not going there. And I'd be like, wait a minute, how would you know that? Because that was a phone conversation I had with my friend. Later realized that he was listening to my phone conversations. He had taken the earbud from my television, and he had hardwired it into the phone jack and ran it behind their waterbed and up so he could just listen. The night of my 8th grade graduation dance, he decided that I wasn't going to the dance. And he was going off about my friends. My friends were no good, and something about my friends, and I just jumped out in the hallway and I just said, you, my friends don't have anything to do with any of this. And he just freaking came at me. And the bathroom, I just was like, okay, bathroom, run in the bathroom, try to lock the door. I'm holding the door, trying to lock it, and he's kicking it, and kicked the door, and there's a big hole in the door, and jacked up my arm. Yeah, he broke my arm.
Shortly after that violent showdown, instinct kicks in, and at a family gathering, something leads Susan to walk upstairs and open a closed bedroom door.
We were in Salinas, California at my sister-in-law's house. It was away from everybody, where nobody would have heard or seen, and I just happened to walk in.
The day my mom walked in on John Getru performing oral on me, it's probably the most uncomfortable, horrible experience of my entire life, but at the same time was the best day of my life because finally my mom knew what was happening and she would stop it.
And I just was like, whoa, what are you doing? I didn't see what he was doing, and I just turned around and I just went, what the hell are you doing to my daughter? He immediately became panicked because we were at his sister's house, and we went for a ride, and he tried to get himself out of it, and I said, oh, no, you're not, no, this is not happening. I didn't know what to do. I was beside myself, and to just think that somebody would do this to a child just appalled me.
I mean, he didn't ever touch me again after that, but I think she tried to fix it. She took us all to a shrink.
We did go see a psychologist, and the psychologist proceeds to tell me, wow, that does happen between stepdaughters and stepfathers. And I went, oh, no. And I just went, that's it, we're done.
That just shut her down right then and there, and that she wasn't going to go any further with that. And he moved out, and that was the end of that. After John left, freedom came to me, and I took full advantage of that freedom.
She was in high school, and she wasn't going. And I had a counselor meeting with two people standing there looking at me going, oh, well, if she shows up, it's okay, and if she doesn't, that's okay, too. And I'm going, no, it's not. She needs to go to school. But I couldn't stop her from doing what she did.
I did a lot of drugs. And I definitely blame John for ruining my life. He killed my education, my childhood, my young adulthood. I went down a lot of really bad roads that I could have avoided. I'm pretty sure would have avoided if hadn't felt the need to escape reality on a daily basis.
She and I have talked about it, and it's like I feel really guilty, and I've told her that. I said, I feel really guilty because I wasn't there to protect you. So, she says, well, I don't blame you. I said, well, but I feel guilty. It's like I should have known, but I didn't, and it's just really hard to accept that.
74-year-old John Getru was arrested at his home in Hayward yesterday.
His sister called me, and she says, Susan, I have something to tell you. John's been arrested for murder. And I'm going, what?
The two murders happened 1 year apart in the 70s.
I found out when, and I'm going, oh my God, he did it when he was married to me. I went, oh my God, and I now had no clue, no idea, no anything. Because he never showed that side of him. He never showed that he was even capable of doing that. You never imagined him being that way.
My mom called me. Said she had some news and asked me if I was sitting down. And, wow, that was, I didn't know exactly how to react. I was kind of happy in a way, sad for the people that he had hurt, but really happy that he finally got caught.
Blindsided by the revelation that his father is a killer, a son comes out of the shadows to challenge his dad.
For me to talk to my dad, he needs to come out and tell the truth. It's scary to think that there's more out there. Come out and tell me now how many more victims there are.
When Susan realizes the man she had married is a monster, she divorces John Getru. But somehow, incredibly, just 5 months later, this master manipulator woos and marries a second woman, Linda Caputo. The Getrus remained married for 25 years until Linda died of cancer in 2003. They had 2 children, including a son, Aaron.
This is not the man who raised me. Never once did I ever think that he could do something like this.
John Getru's success was based on his ability to hide in plain sight. He, in the 70s, played the role of the loving husband and stepfather in Palo Alto, and then later in the 80s and 90s, he was the soccer coach and soccer dad to his 2 other children. When you speak to those closest to him, they had no idea of his true nature.
I am so in shock. They've been very quiet neighbors.
Residents of Hayward's Fairway Park neighborhood had no idea a man at the center of a 45-year-old cold case murder was living among them.
This is a loving man, family man. I mean, this is the man that was, there until the last second my mom died. There'd never any indication he could have done anything like what he's being accused of.
Would you say that you grew up in a loving household where you knew that your dad loved you?
Yes, I would say I grew up in a loving household. I mean, it'd be crazy to say he wasn't a loving father. He was a big part of our lives. I felt like our family is a typical all-American family. My mom and dad were very involved in our lives with school, sports. My dad was a baseball coach, soccer coach. He was there for everything. He wasn't putting on an act. That's who he was. He told us, when you have a girlfriend, no means no. You show respect and you treat women with respect. Don't let me catch you abusing a girlfriend or anything like that.
And no means no.
No means no.
My name is Christy Getru, and I first got to know John Getru in 2005. He was at the hospital when my son was born. He would offer to change diapers. He would feed the baby. He would bathe the baby. I mean, he loved his grandchildren and, loved being around them. And I never felt uncomfortable, ever. I never had that creepy feeling or never thought like, oh, that was kind of weird to say. Why would he say something like that? I never, ever felt that, ever.
Everything in my life changed November of 2018.
More than 45 years after the death of Leslie Perloff, the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office now believes they have the man responsible.
Kind of blew me out of the water, and I thought, there's no way. It had to be, they got the wrong person. I drive home, I tell my wife, Christy, what's going on. She's blown away also.
Honestly, all I kept saying was, what the Are you kidding me? Like, is this a joke? What's going on?
And then all of a sudden you start thinking back into your life. Did I miss something? And then they put on there that there's 1 in septillion chance that it's anybody else. And then you think, oh, that's legit. When the initial story came out, it said on there he was arrested for the killing of Margaret Williams. And then you call my aunt and uncle and ask them, and they told us that that story is true. Yes, this happened in Germany. We knew it happened, and it was a family secret.
Was that shocking?
Yes, very shocking, because that's not my dad. It was like your whole world stopped. That's how it felt. Your heart sunk. Like there's just no way this could be happening.
Do you have any doubt that the person who did those things is your dad?
I don't want to believe it, but it's reality. It's the truth. So I don't doubt that he ever did it. It's hard to think that it's true.
When's the last time you talked to your dad?
I've not spoken to him since he was arrested in November of 2018.
Why haven't you spoken to him?
Just the lies. It's what can you believe? There's no point for me to talk to him because I don't know if he's going to tell me the truth.
I think he hasn't spoken to his father just because he feels like basically his whole childhood was a lie, This man that raised him is not who we all thought he was.
Do you know that he wants to talk to you?
For me to talk to my dad, he needs to come out and tell the truth. DNA does not lie, so we know that part. And there possibly could be more out there. They don't just stop. That's the scary part. How many are there? You don't know. It's scary to think that there's more out there. Come out and tell me now how many more victims there are. Let's let the loved ones get their closure. And it's over. You're caught. You're never getting out of jail. You're gonna die in jail. Let's give some closure to this.
Well, closure for one family. In fact, we can report that just days ago, after a 2-week trial, John Getru was found guilty of Janet Taylor's murder. Almost almost 50 years after her death.
That's right. It took the jury just over an hour to reach that verdict. The murder trial for Leslie Perloff is yet to come. Getru has pleaded not guilty in that case, and that is our program for tonight. I'm Amy Robach.
And I'm David Muir from all of us here at ABC News in 2020. Good night.